Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Appreciate you joining us for this webinar today, Plant and Process Digitization, Asset and Calibration Management. We hope you find the next 30 minutes informative. We will go through the agenda quickly, just before we start. What's in today's agenda? So speaker introductions, introduce you to Donal and Gerard. Why digitize facilities and processes, an overview of PlantQuest, including a demo of 2.5-3 minutes, overview of CompuCal, and also a demo for 3 minutes. Why integration matters and the impact stories with relation to financial and productivity for both products. Gerard, over to you.
Yeah, thanks a million for hosting us today, James. So my own background is I have 20 years in the farm and oil and gas sector, very heavily involved in asset management over the years, everything from calibrations to commissioning to operations and beyond, even into decommissioning. So very much influenced from my background, starting at the very bottom, and very, very adept with the problems that people face in the asset management space, both from a regulatory perspective, and now what's becoming more apparent to us is from a visual asset management perspective. So I hope to explain that to people today. So over to you, Donal.
Thanks, Gerard. I'm delighted to be here today as well. So I'm Donal Sullivan, CEO of CompuCal. Been in the industry a little bit longer than Gerard, so probably 30 odd years. Spent the last 17 prior to CompuCal as Vice President and General Manager in Johnson Controls. So dealt a lot with the built environment all over the world in complex buildings and all the problem sets that delivers to you, whether that's brownfield or new builds, etc., and the implementation of digital technologies into those complex environments. I'm also chairman of MCCI, which is the industry association of semiconductor companies that have a location in Ireland doing research. And now I run CompuCal. We're a software company that helps people to manage their assets, particularly the calibration and maintenance of their assets. And we're developing our offering to do more and more based on what customers are asking us to do. So that's me.
Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Donal. We'll just jump down to the next slide. I suppose the purpose of this slide is just an open conversation to touch on some of the key points based on the slide. So what I will do as well in parallel, while Donal and Gerard are touching on these points, I'll start a quick poll and I'll end it at the end of the slide. So if you want to vote on the poll in a second. So Donal, let's kick it off with yourself. Maybe CompuCal, and you could talk about regulatory compliance to start.
Sure. Yeah, look, for us, for our customers, regulatory compliance is a big deal. So we really service the life science market, medtech market, food and beverage industries, amongst others. So for them, getting their ingredients right into their end products and making sure that that's per regulations is like super important. So the measuring equipment in their processes has to be measuring accurately, and that's where calibration comes into account. So how do you measure the measuring equipment, and how do you make sure that that complies with all regulation? How do you make sure that it's done on time, and how do you make sure that your product and your process comply perfectly with regulation? So that's our sweet spot. That's where we deliver a platform that helps people to orchestrate and manage what they do in that space. Super, super important, and more regulation coming all the time. So this for us is a space that drives demand. If you're any kind of complex manufacturing, this is becoming more and more burdensome to manage unless you can move to digital cloud-based solutions.
Yeah, thank you, Donal. And Gerard, I suppose a topic that's very heavy in people's businesses on a day-to-day basis is safety. So how does PlantQuest, deal with safety?
I suppose what we do with all the benefits of our product is we tie it back to what we see in the bottom right is operational efficiency, and it's something that we're getting challenged on more and more every year. Is okay, if we take on this new product or innovation, how much more product will this help us get out the door every year? So we look at all aspects that you can see there, but we look at specifically sometimes at aspects such as safety and training and onboarding. And what we see is when people see a safe site, they see a productive site, and what they really focus on is business continuity. So what PlantQuest does is it brings visual context to systems, be it safety, be it training, or be it just production systems. So if you can imagine, you have fire systems, lone worker systems, building management systems. They're all surfacing information coming from the plant to workers. And if you can present that information to workers in a more visual way, if you can imagine your life prior to Google Maps, that's the way pharmaceutical plants and other complex manufacturing facilities are operating at the moment. So by giving companies this kind of visual context, it allows them to manage it better. They say if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. But what we say is, well, if you can't find it, you can't even measure it or manage it, So, and all that, again, like I said, feeds through to this operational efficiency piece. If you have people responding to alarms quicker, if you have people, be it safety or production, if you have people getting more familiar with the site quicker, it all feeds back into the operational efficiency piece, getting more product out the door, which is what we're all about.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Gerard. Donal, to come back to you, just to maybe touch on, I suppose it's a big part as well for any system in any organization is knowledge management. How do you think CompuCal would deal with that?
Yeah, look, that becomes, again, crucial if you're looking at how you manage your instrumentation. What traditionally has happened is a lot of this has been done with paper processes, or at best with maybe some PDF documents and some Word documents. So you're kind of managing documents as opposed to information and data. So that's the problem that we set out to solve, and that we create a cloud platform where you can enter data yourself if you're self-conducting your own calibration and maintenance programs, or if you've got service providers that do that. And you keep all that core information in your platform. So it enables you to do all kinds of powerful analytics around drift over time, around interval optimization, all of those kinds of complex questions that A, you have to put in context, B, you have to have a big data set, and then you have to run good analytics on it so that you can pull the key insights and messages. You can't do that from bits of paper or Excel documents, or PDF documents, etc. It becomes a hugely laborious task and unwieldy and really not doable. So that's where we see the big benefit of, this move to digital transformation and getting at the raw data at the edge. That's allows you to make informed decisions based on the insights that you can glean from that real data.
Perfect. Thank you, Donal. And Gerard, just to finish up this section, maybe you can talk to training and onboarding and how PlantQuest can support that for any organization.
Yeah, essentially what we see more and more happening in industry is you're seeing a very high turnover of staff, be it colleagues or contractors within organizations. And as plants become more complex, you're seeing the onboarding and training period of new staff coming onto site getting longer and longer, with some plants taking between 3 and 7 months to onboard new staff members fully. Like we spoke to a client yesterday who had some people a year and a half on site, and they were still learning where all the electrical panels were. So essentially what we do at PlantQuest is we take that kind of tacit knowledge in-house, and that becomes the company's intellectual property. So when it comes time to losing a team member, you're not left with that gap where you're spending 3, 6, 7 months onboarding a new staff member. That knowledge is now part of the company's IP, and it really brings efficiency to the onboarding process and saves companies a lot of resources.
Thank you, Gerard. Just for everyone's knowledge, I'm going to finish the poll there also. We'll move on to the demos. So, Gerald, hand over to you. There's a few slides and a video as well, so just let me know which one to do.
Yeah, next slide, please, James. So, as I spoke about a second ago, essentially what PlantQuest does is it brings context to all your existing systems within your facility. Everybody talks about digital twin these days, but what we see, especially in the brownfield, is there's a serious lack of a canvas to provide context to the systems that you have within your facility. So what PlantQuest does is it starts off with this canvas and it creates an intelligent digital map of your facility, and then we have a layer above that allows you to integrate your various systems and processes. So very popular systems that we integrate would be obviously calibration systems, maintenance management systems, building management systems, fire systems, and other safety systems. On top of that, then, as I'll show you in the demo in a second, you can set your own business rules, your navigation rules, and we have a database. And then sitting on top of that, then you have your use cases. So very popular use cases are providing visual context to fire and ERT. That would be optimizing alarm response and evacuation. asset management from the aspect of planning maintenance and executing maintenance, getting workers to where they need to be quickly and efficiently, and also planning large scopes of work like shutdowns and turnarounds. Also mobile asset tracking, so it provides the perfect canvas to track your mobile assets, your mobile vessels, your calibration equipment, and also safety systems such as permit to work, as well as that. They'll be the most popular ones at the moment, and you can see some of the other systems that we have in production at the moment also. Next slide, James, please. So why PlantQuest? And I suppose I touched on it there a minute ago. So what we do is we allow you to locate assets instantly, be it fixed or mobile. So that's zero time wasted. If you can imagine, everybody knows where a boiler is, you would hope, but it's a small assets like bursting discs, small temperature transmitters, you know, that could take upwards of an hour and a half of following a P&ID to find. As I'll show you in a minute, you can filter, you can do large amounts of assets in the context of the facility. That really speeds up execution. Alarm response time. You know, we know how important it is not to lose batches and to increase mean time to repair, which is a big focus for us at the moment. So having the ability to navigate directly to the scene of an alarm or a PM or a CM is very important. As I've already said, the piece around onboarding staff members is super important, taking that tacit knowledge in-house. And finally, it's having an open API, which I'm sure Donal is very passionate about and we'll speak about later on, that allows you to tie data from different systems together and to allow for that actionable insights, joined up thinking, just all in all, just smarter decision making. Next slide, please, James. So we'll just go into a demo here now. It's about 3.5 minutes long. It's a quick whistle-stop tour of the product. So in this demo, we're going to show you the PlantQuest web and mobile app. So on the web app, there's a few ways you can interact with the system. The first is by inputting an asset tag or ID. So here we're searching for a boiler. And the first thing it shows you is the asset location in the field. And on the left-hand panel, you can see asset information up to and including photographs, which can be added by workers either in the field or at their desk. This gives workers that extra bit of context before they head out into the field. The next way you can interact with it is by using our filtering system. So you can filter from numerous criteria. In this case, we're going to go for an asset type. So you can see all the PW valves across the site. You can see all the asset tags. You can zoom in, you can see the asset locations again. And once again, on the left-hand panel, you can see all the assets that you've searched with the corresponding asset information. You can extend that functionality further by building work packs, so you can add groups of assets to work packs. In this case, we'll show you work packs for air separators and receivers. So you can see all the air separators and receivers across the facility. You can zoom in, you can see the information on them. These could be printed as a PDF, put into a work pack. So if you have vendors or contractors coming to site, it's very useful. And the final way you can interact with the map is by simply selecting a room or area. You can see all the assets within the area, and you can see the room or area information also, again up to including photographs. Again, giving workers that extra bit of context before they head out into the field to do some work. Again, very useful for onboarding new staff or contractors or colleagues. And the final feature in the web app is our layering or asset information, our area information functionality. So here you can select certain areas or rooms with different attributes such as ATEX areas, production areas, and you can highlight them. Very good for work planning and safety planning. You can see different asset groups such as defibrillators, muster points, emergency exits. Next, we'll show you the tablet application. So you can do single or multiple asset navigation. So here what we're going to do is we're going to build a line walk for a group of temperature transmitters. So you can filter your assets numerous ways by searching or by using the drop downs. So here we're adding 11 temperature transmitters to a line walk. You save the line walk. And what we do here is we surface area information, so you can see confined space, permit to work, PPE, and hearing protection required. So you simply enter your starting point. So in this case, it's going to be the workshop. So the system then prompts you, says, do you want to go in the order that you landed, or do you want us to optimize the route for you? So in this case, we optimize the route for you. And you can see then the system navigates from the workshop to the first asset to the second asset, and so on. So you can imagine how much time you can save if you have a regular routine, or if you have a vendor coming to site, or a Gemba walk, how much time can be saved by actually optimizing workflows in this way. Thanks for that, James. Yeah, so that's basically a whistle-stop tour of the product. Our details will be at the end of the show if anybody wants to reach out for a much more in-depth demo that's tailored to your own facility. We'll hand over to Donal there now, and Donal will give you the lowdown on CompuCal, a great product that I've used myself in the past.
Yeah, super. Thanks, Gerard. And look, a really nice presentation there on PlantQuest. And I know from my own history before of looking at different control systems that you can get overwhelmed with, control signals around alarms and events that happen. But putting that visual context in place, which is what PlantQuest do, means you can actually consume a lot more information very simply and visually. And it really does assist with quicker and better informed decision making. So I think it's something that we're tracking very closely with. We've done an integration to PlantQuest ourselves because we see that value that we can bring to our customers also. About CompuCal, so we are a cloud platform, and we enable the efficient management and orchestration of calibration and maintenance for companies. And we simplify all of that, remove the risk of audit failure and non-compliance, and a significant efficiency improvement that we drive as well. This week, we've just launched our first mobile app, which you'll get to see in a minute. Our product is fully compliant, so for heavily regulated industries, that's super important. It's 21 CFR Part 11 compliant. We're an open API architecture, which Gerard mentioned. For us, that's crucial. We integrate to and with anything. We think it's super important that the end client can do that. Use what you've got, integrate with what you've got, so they don't have to go and invest in whole new systems, etc. Provided you've got that API capability, and that's where we meet most of our customers wanting to put different data sets together to build overall context. We do a lot of deep analytics for people on their intervals and how they manage them, on preventive maintenance, those types of things, which you can do if you've got a rich data set, which we have, thankfully. Move on, James. Industry that we serve: life sciences, food and beverage, complex manufacturing, oil and gas, etc. So for us, we serve a lot of industries, and you see some of our client base there, which is pretty extensive and growing. For us, this is important. This is our intelligent edge to cloud. That's kind of where we sit. So we touch the very edge components, and we bring all of that information back smartly to a cloud platform. And now with CompuCal Go, that you'll see, we've built a data entry layer for in-house technicians or for service providers, that they can do the data capture really quickly, really efficiently, and really accurately in real time at source. So with that, we'll launch the CompuCal Go.
We're thrilled to launch our latest innovation, CompuCal Go. CompuCal Go enables real-time, accurate data entry at source. Log on using your CompuCal credentials. Go straight into issued calibration and maintenance work orders to complete. It's easy to check what's done and partially done. The download button syncs the latest issued work to the app as per the schedule. See more details about the asset by clicking the information button. I'll choose a calibration work order and proceed to data entry. On the details tab, you'll see setup comments from the platform, and you can add new information. Add attachments like before and after photos, files, external certs, etc. to the work order. To add references, use the search icon to bring up a list of all available references. Filter and select the correct one. Save the references to the work order. On the Values tab, enter the calibration results. Expand the Ranges box to verify the calibration ranges, tolerance, and relationship types. Check the adjustment slider to allow for the entry of as found and as left results. When the adjustment is unchecked, then as found data entry will be the default. To enter individual point results, simply press the edit icon for the point. The point number and as found as left indicator is displayed. If a point naming convention has been set up, this will also display. On entering the input reference and output reading values for the point, the error will be automatically calculated, and you'll be notified of any out-of-tolerance errors and the error control being set to red to indicate the deviation. There is also an option for an adjust level indicator, which will be highlighted in yellow. Move between points using the before and after arrows. Save all results and return to the Values tab. The values entered and the errors calculated will be shown on the values grid. Any out of tolerance error will be highlighted in red. If the work order has been set up for deviation processing, then a deviation will be automatically created and a list of the tolerance points auto-populated. Add additional information to the work order by using the user data functionality. Track time taken to help with resource planning, analytics, and billing if you're a service provider. Once data entry has been completed, fully save or partially save, which allows you to come back and complete later. Now I'll select a maintenance work order. Again, add entry comments and add attachments as needed. I'll choose the end task. Select the result and enter remarks or comments. For fails, choose the fault selections for fault and cause and add activity for resolution. This data can be used for future fault data analytics. Move between tasks with before and after buttons, save and return to the task tab. Use the plus button to create an unplanned or an ad hoc task. Enter the task activity, description and results, and save. Like calibration, you can also add references, user data, and time taken results. The full save, partial save options are also available for maintenance work. You can view any completed work and revert a work order to a partially entered status, so you can make changes if needed. Save once again to complete the process. Upload to sync results back to the main platform. If the certificate setting is set to yes, the corresponding certificate per work order will be downloaded to the app. These certificates can be viewed on the certificates page. On selecting a cert, the view, email and delete buttons will be enabled. Press the view button and you will see a cert page. View all the certs for the selected items. Navigate between certs using the before and after buttons. Navigate between pages of a cert using the navigation buttons. Zoom in and out of certificates as necessary. You can email a selection of certs to whoever needs them. Simply select multiple certificates and press the email button. Create a new email and attach certs. When finished with the certs, you can delete them from the phone as they're stored on the main platform. Support is always available with useful links. You can try out the demo mode with a pre-installed list of calibration and maintenance work orders. All the app functions are available to try, except for syncing to the platform. You'll need a license for that. So there you have it, CompuCal Go. Save time and money by conducting work efficiently at source. Go fully digital and mobile, combining the platform and the app. Eliminate time delays in data entry and transcription errors. Calibration and maintenance made simple.
Donal, do you want to closing comments, or Gerard,
Yeah,
just from a
sure.
demo perspective, maybe just both of you?
Yes, thanks, James. So look, for us, that's exciting. That's an innovation that we've just launched this week on Monday. We've already had 2-3 customers sign up for CompuCal Go, so that for us is a big thrill. We're delighted that that's the case, and a lot of service companies that are looking at that feature, because if you've got a big service team and you're involved in turnarounds, or you've got routine work that you're doing, this can be a really, really valuable tool for your company and for those people to carry out that work and do it all digitally. That's what we're seeing from our end customers, a demand to move to digital. They don't want pieces of paper, they don't want paper certs, they don't want Word documents. They want all of that information end-to-end seamlessly and digitally. So that's why we created CompuCal Go, and that's why we're thrilled with the reaction that we're getting in the market so far. Early days, but so far so good.
Yeah, very good, Donal, and I've used it myself, and it is a really good product. And I suppose that touches on what we have on the bottom right of the screen. There is best in breed products, and I think that's what companies like us endeavour to bring to the table with our customers, as opposed to some of the much larger organizations who find it really difficult to innovate and are very difficult to integrate with as well. We're part of an ecosystem that really allows for very swift, easy integrations due to our open architecture that really enables organizations to do more with a lot less than they would have to do when dealing with large kind of monolithic organizations.
Yeah, exactly. And so for us, we're equipment agnostic. We don't mind what you use, what you have. I think that's really important. We also integrate with other softwares, exactly as Gerard said. So that's what's important from an end client perspective. What have you got and how do you make it work best? Glean from what you've already invested in, layer on top best in breed pieces to fill out that ecostructure or ecosystem of digital tools that you want to deploy, and do that in a very, cost effective way. So that's where we see the industry going. That's certainly where we fit in. And that's why I'm very pleased to be able to support PlantQuest as well today, because we've seen that from their offering. And we can see how our offering and PlantQuest can tie together to help end customers. And we've done a couple of presentations to joint customers, that sort of thing. So again, it's bringing that best in breed, open architecture, use what you've got, but glean the best information that you can, put it in context, integrate as you need to, use your data set.
Perfect. And I suppose I might just mention I'm after opening another poll as well. So if you want to vote now, and then let's jump into the case studies, Gerard and Donal, and we can talk to them in a bit more detail, because I think we're kind of running tight on time. So I'll push on to the next slide. So Gerard, I'll hand over to you for your impact case study.
I suppose this is one of our initial customers, and it shows how kind of PlantQuest and the visual context we provided kind of moved throughout the organization. We first went in working from an EHS and emergency response perspective, where we reduced alarm response times by 75%. That followed up with a BMS and a PI integration, where again it was an integration to reduce response times to production alarms also. And beyond that, then we moved into areas such as IT, equipment management, and most recently we went into the management of IBCs and mobile vessels from a mobile asset tracking perspective. So the efficiencies that our solution brought to the table saved 135,000 a year in cleaning and sanitization costs. But the big win on the back of that was having more vessels available and enabling 37 extra batches to be created. So bringing a total cost saving of around €1 million in 1 year to just to one facility. And that was such a success. We're now going to be present across 7 facilities by the end of this year. So it was a really satisfying way for us to see this kind of visual context being deployed in a brownfield where initially before there was no visual context whatsoever.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Gerard. And Donal?
Yeah, sure. So look, this would be for us one of the more significant customers that we have, a global medical device company. And they would have started initially at one location, but like it so much, they look for an enterprise-wide deployment, which happily that's what we've done with them. So multiple integrations to CMMS systems and LIN systems that they have. And they're getting now real-time insights from the edge, from their instrumentation that allows them to do a number of things. They're driving global standardization because they're now able to structure their data, their naming conventions, what information they get around their assets, etc., globally, which for them they couldn't do before. Risk mitigation for them is huge now. They're able to manage. They don't have issues with audits. They're always on top of it. They know exactly where things stand. They don't have any out of compliance processes because they know exactly the status of their instrumentation in real time. Driving continuous improvement and deep analytics you can do if you've got the data set, which we have. And so we're now able to build machine learning algorithms, and eventually we'll move on to AI that we can deploy on these data sets. Digital transformation for this end client is a big thing within their environment, and how do they do that? And doing that in a brownfield established set of legacy manufacturing locations is not so simple. Again, that's where we help them to say, well, look, what have you got? What can we glean from what you've got before you have to try and re-engineer everything? Sustainability for them becomes really important. How do they extend life of what they've already invested in? How do you not create unneeded downtime if you've got healthy processes and equipment and instrumentation that you're just doing time-based maintenance and calibration on, maybe unnecessarily? But you can't change that unless you've got a deep data set that shows you how to do that properly without introducing new risk. So for us, this has been a huge success, global deployment, enterprise-wide, driving standardization, a big return on investment for these guys in less than 6 months, 30 to 40% efficiency gain, huge result, and one that we're really proud of.
Thank you, Donal. Okay, so just to remind everybody, we'll have a kind of a 5-10 minute Q&A session at the end. So the webinar is kind of officially over, but we'll stay for questions and answers. Just to remind everybody, Gerard's contact details and Donal's contact details are at the end of this page. We will share them again afterwards, post a webinar. So if you want to take note of them, do. If not, fine, we'll send them on at some stage. Gerard and Donal, maybe for 30 seconds each, just closing comments before we move into Q&A.
Yeah, look, maybe I'll jump in first. I think great to have so many people on the call. So thank you for taking time out of your day, number one. Look, for us, this is a never-ending journey. It's that move to digital. It's getting improved insights and better information that allow you to make better decisions more quickly. That's our mission. That's what we're about. We do it ourselves, but we're pleased to partner with best-in-class people that have a similar attitude, which is that open API, open architecture, integrate with anything, and bring best-in-breed digital tools into that ecosystem, and you pick and mix and use as necessary. So that's why we're delighted to do this jointly with PlantQuest today, because we see them sitting right in that space, very impressed with what they do. And certainly we've got customers that are interested in combining both our offerings together, which we're delighted with.
Yeah, and just to echo Donal's piece there around integration and ecosystem. Yeah, we're really happy to be working with companies to bring that visual context to their facilities, especially around the brownfield piece, where, as I've said earlier, traditionally there has been a real lack of visual context, and bringing the digital experience that you have outside of work into work. If you can imagine what your life was like before Google Maps, in your world, in your life outside work, well, that's pretty much what your life is like inside work. And what our customers have seen is they've seen a transformation of multiple workflows within their organization since they've started using PlantQuest, and we're constantly being asked about integrations with systems like CompuCal, like energy management systems, like fire and gas systems as well. So we're delighted to be on that journey with our clients, bringing this kind of visual context to their facilities.
Perfect. Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, Donal. Just a few questions that I have here on my end that came in before the webinar. Might maybe just touch with Gerard first. So what's involved in the PlantQuest install, and how long does it typically take?
Typically with PlantQuest, we deal with one use case or one problem space at a time. So generally that focuses on one subset of assets. So it could be 5,000-6,000 assets, maybe in the fire space and the calibration space. And there's an asset mapping process that happens initially. That can be done by us. It can be done there's tools that the client can do it themselves. So that happens. There's a map that needs to be built as well. But generally, it takes around 6 weeks to get the system up and running with a new client.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I think, Donal, you're replying to some of the questions being asked there by text, so that's good. A question that came in there, maybe Gerard again, says, does PlantQuest run an iPhone and iPad?
It will by Q1 next year. We just have the first iOS beta version being tested internally at the moment, and yeah, it's looking good. We were initially Android focused, but one of our key clients has requested an iOS version, so that'll be good to go in Q1 next year.
Okay, excellent. And somebody also asked the question: is the presentation going to be shared? Yes, it will. Just a question for you, Donal. Mm-hmm. Can CompuCal be applied to any environment?
Yes, it can. So, I mean, again, just to clarify as well, so CompuCal Go can be used on Android and iOS. Our cloud platform can be used on any device, whether it's a laptop, desktop, iPad, whatever. It can be used in any environment, absolutely, and clients use it to manage their own internal calibration and maintenance programs. They have service providers use it sitting on their install, or they'll use service providers that sit on our CompuCal Go mobile app and cloud that allows to deliver that service digitally. So more and more service providers are taking up that option so that they can offer that. So yeah, anywhere, anytime, any environment.
Brilliant, brilliant. A question to both of you. Why partner with PlantQuest? Why partner with CompuCal?
Yeah, I'll jump in to why partner with PlantQuest for a whole host of reasons. Number one is that visual context that Gerard talks about is so important, because people are overwhelmed with information or bad information from control systems, etc. And it's just, you can't process that at kind of the speed of reality. Bringing visual context, making that simpler, for people so that you can understand what you're looking at in real time, that you've got a visual picture of what that looks like. That's really important. So for me, having spent 17 years in that kind of built environment with Johnson Controls, that's a problem that I saw multiple customers struggling with. So to be able to see something that's solving that, and to be able to partner with an innovative company like PlantQuest and bring our two solutions together, I know that's something that's pretty compelling for a lot of end customers. So for me, I'm just delighted to see a best of breed company that we can work with that solves a real customer need that I've seen for many, many years.
Yeah, thanks for that, Donal. And on top of that, I suppose it's the innovation that the companies that are best in breed bring to the table. I don't want to mention names, but there's some of the big ERP and EAM companies out there. They've had it too good for too long, and they haven't brought any innovation or real innovation to the table in a long time. And quite often we see with clients is not only are they're running an EAM or an ERP system, but they could be running 8 versions of it across their organization. So it is virtually impossible to integrate with these systems within these organizations. Whereas if you have a group of integration focused best in breed products, there is really no need for software purchase decisions to be made at a global IT level. They can be made by the people on the ground, for the people on the ground, because they're integration focused.
Yeah, thank you, Gerard. 3 more questions, and I think we might cut it at that. Gerard, to you, what technology do you use to track mobile assets?
So we are technology agnostic. Initially, we were focused on Wi-Fi triangulation, but what we're moving more towards now is Wirepass, which is, if I could condense to something, I would say is the evolution of Bluetooth. It's a 2.4 gigahertz technology, mesh technology that enables very accurate tracking of assets across a facility. Very long battery life on the tags, and it doesn't have to integrate with your IT system whatsoever. All the backhaul can be done via 4 or 5G if you wish. So that takes a lot of the management overhead away from on-site server deployments and stuff like that.
Excellent. And Donal, we know CompuCal can manage calibration. How about maintenance?
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's one of the big benefits, is that you're getting kind of 2 for 1. So for us, maintenance is really kind of easy to do. Calibration is the more complex process. So it's kind of a subset of the capabilities that we've built into our platform in any case. But yes, absolutely, you can do maintenance. And that's what customers buy from us. They like it because it does both calibration and maintenance. And a lot of their field employees and also for service companies that need to conduct both calibration and maintenance activities can do that in one purchase, one environment. You're not buying 2 different systems. Again, just make it simple for people.
Okay, perfect. I think we'll leave it at that. It's 10 minutes Q&A. I had one other question. It's more in jest than anything else, but who's going to win the rugby on Saturday night between Ireland and the Kiwis? I don't think we've any Kiwis on the call, but
that's an easy one. Hard luck.
Yeah. Sorry there, James. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
There's one other question there. It was in the chat rather than the Q&A from Jason. He just asked a couple of questions. You might have missed it there. I don't know if you can see it. If not, I can read it out for you.
Yeah, read it out because I don't see it.
So first one for Gerard. What file imports do you support for building layouts?
So we generally work with PDFs, DWGs, or DXFs. We've done some work around Revit files also, and as well, and Navis works also. So we're pretty much layout agnostic when it comes to building the baseline maps that we use to build PlantQuest.
Excellent. Then this is for Donal. So you mentioned CompuCal as equipment agnostic. Is there a live telemetry integration to IoT devices for real-time health status?
Yeah, so we've done a number of integrations to IoT platforms. So again, depending what scope of equipment that you're looking at and whether you already have an IoT platform or whether you need one, the answer is, yeah, we can figure that out for you. Either we can bring something to you, suggest something, or integrate with whatever you've got.
Excellent. And then Jace, the third one was, what is typically used as the UID MAC addresses or serial numbers?
Sorry, who's that for?
For yourself, I guess, Donald. It's just a follow on from the previous question.
Yeah, can you just run the question by me again?
What is typically used as the UID MAC addresses or serial numbers? Question mark.
Yeah, for us, like the unique ID for an asset tends to be, you see, because we can have a lot of unconnected assets, so a MAC ID or serial number isn't necessarily relevant. So it's whatever the customer's naming convention is, if they have one. We'll create a unique ID per asset. If it happens to be coinciding with a connected asset and we can use a MAC address or something like that, then yeah, for sure, most of our client base wouldn't do that. What they would look for us to do is either use a naming convention that they have, or for us to apply a standard one that's available out of the box to identify all the assets with a unique ID. And a lot of them will be unconnected assets, as I said.
Excellent. And then there was a last one. I guess this is for both of you, Gerard and Donal. To prevent large upfront costs, is there a SaaS-based pricing model available?
Yes, CompuCal is only we're a SaaS company. That's what we have. So it's a CapEx model. All you can eat, as many users and tags as you want to have in the system. So again, it makes it very, very simple from a pricing perspective, and you can, certainty of what it's going to cost you over time. So absolutely, for us, yes.
Yeah, and the exact same for us. We follow pretty much the same model. The only time it will increase is if you want to move to different integrations.